Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be going over my power sheets for the month of April and how those results went, as well as my new goals for the month of May. So let's get started with April's results. As you can see, I have my priority as work. And let's go ahead through the categories. So the first category I have is my health category, which is this light blue. I didn't have any monthly action items for that category. I did have weekly action items, which is to exercise twice a week. I lowered it from 3 times a week. As you can see, that did not really help as much, at least in terms of getting check marks. I did do some workouts, but it wasn't enough to do the check marks. So you'll see in May, I lowered that again. And then for health, I had 3 daily action items or habits that I wanted to do, which is Metamucil, my PM medication, and then brushing my teeth at night. And I did so-so on these. Metamucil was maybe not so great. The best one out of these 3 categories looks like it was my PM meds. I did pretty well on that. And then brushing my teeth at night was kind of here and there. So with these, I wanted to keep these up, so I actually carried all 3 of these categories or goals toward next month, which you'll see. The next category is work, which is this like kind of darker blue color here. So I have 2 goals. The first one was to defend my proposal, which happened. I defended on the 9th, I want to say is what it was. So this was something that was going to happen no matter what, but I just wanted to put it down to kind of feel like I accomplished something because it is kind of a big deal. And the next goal was to make a game plan for my qualifying exams. And this, I have a black line through it because this actually wasn't able to happen. So for this, I needed to have all the resources sent from my advisors, and I actually didn't have it by the time April ended. And because that wasn't on me, it was because I was relying on other people to get back to me, is why I just put a black line through it instead of just leaving it blank. Because leaving it blank means that I didn't do it, but a black line means that I either chose not to do it or purposely pushed it off before the end of the month. So this doesn't kind of go against me, if that makes sense. So this was a goal that I carried over to May because it has to happen that month. The next item I had for work, which is weekly action item, which was a Tidy Tuesday. And this is kind of like a practice coding exercise. It's like a fun exercise. I wanted to do it once a week because that's when our coding club meets, but I wasn't able to make all the meetings, and that's really the only time I have scheduled out of my day to actually have this goal happen. So I didn't do so great with it. I can't remember if I carried it over to May. Let me double check. I did not, because our coding club is not actually meeting anymore, and I have other priorities to do. So this goal will definitely come back in the future, just not in the near future. And then the last goal I had for work, which is to make progress. This was just any progress in general towards either at the beginning of the month, which you can see I had a whole ton of checks. All of these were for my proposal. And then afterwards, all of those were going towards studying for my qualifying exams. And I did pretty good on this one. Again, I defended on the 9th, and then I have these shaded in because that was the weekend. And I wanted to take a couple days off right after I defended. So I didn't want to have a blank go against me, if that makes sense. So I shaded it in instead. So I did really well in the month of April for this. And I still have the same goal, but I kind of reworded it for May, which you'll see in the second half of this video. The next category is Colton, which is this kind of teal color, and that was to make a date night ideas list. And that is because we are actually moving out of Miami in a couple months, and I kind of wanted to get a list of everything that we wanted to do before we move to kind of take advantage of that while we're still here. So we did make that list, and we will be checking some of these items off in the next coming months. The next category is my miscellaneous category, and I only had 2 items here. The first one was just to update my automatic backup, because right now I manually back up everything onto a hard drive or external hard drive. And I wanted to kind of have it be one of those like Dropbox or Box like automatic syncing type backups. And my friend said that she did that and she noticed that it really slows down her computer and she just didn't really like it. So I just decided, because it only takes me a few minutes to back up my files whenever I do it, that I don't really need an automatic backup. So that's why I put a line through it, because this was something that I actually changed my mind on after I already wrote it down. So this will not be happening. And then the other item I have here for a daily item is to light a candle. And as I probably did this about 50% of the time. The reason why this second half here, or this last week, is grayed out was because we were on vacation. We were actually, so Colton's parents were visiting and we were staying in a hotel. So I couldn't really light a candle there. So that's why I grayed it out. And I did okay. I thought I lit it a little bit more often than it turns out I do. So that's why I carried it over to May as a new goal, because I want to keep using up these candles before we move so we have less to move with. The next category is crafting, which is this light peach color. I have finished coasters. My mom and I did like a DIY project where we kind of made our own coasters, and the backing of them is still rough, so it'll like scratch the surface. So I wanted to just back it just by putting like cardstock and then some like fuzzy things to protect whatever table I put it on, and I did not get around to that. And then the one scrapbook spread a week, I did 2 out of the 5 weeks. So the reason why this has 5 weeks instead of 4 is because on Fridays, Victoria Marie has like a YouTube live where she does something like scrapbooking. So I figured I would just watch her because I enjoy watching her videos, and then I can also scrapbook along with her. And this month, there just happened to be 5 Fridays that month, but I was only able to scrapbook a spread for 2 of those. So I didn't get as much done as I wanted to. So that's why I carried this goal over to May as well. The next category is Missy Brie, which is this kind of light pinkish color or dark peach color. I'm not sure what to call it, but my goal was to make an Instagram and Pinterest template. So whenever I post, I can just like drop the picture in there in Photoshop, and it'll be easier for me to stay on top of both of these platforms. And I did not get around to doing that. So I actually also carried this over to May. And then the other item, which happens to be a weekly action item for this category, was to make 1 YouTube post a week. And I did pretty good on that. I didn't do it the last week because I forgot to prep for when Colton's parents were visiting, so I didn't have anything scheduled to go up, so nothing ended up going up. So that's why that didn't have a check mark. So in the future, when I have plans like that, I have to remember to do work ahead of time, since what I kind of do now is like a week by week, honestly, sometimes even day by day basis. So I need to get in a better schedule. I also carried this over for May to keep up with this. The next category is our home category, which is this red color here. So every month, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that every month we are choosing a different area of our home, or rather apartment, to declutter. And this month was the bathroom, and we did that. And then for the weekly action items, my goal is to stay on top of my to-dos, or my cleaning to-dos every single week. And I did that about half the time. I'm still trying to get better at doing it on days when I schedule it to, but I need to kind of figure out what days those certain tasks work best. So I'm kind of playing around with that and figuring that out, which is why I carried this habit over to next month as well. And the last category is finance. And I just had these 2 items for the monthly action items, was to restructure our budget because we have a change. I finished my emergency fund. So I needed to figure out what I wanted to do with that extra money now to kind of like reorganize that. So I redid the budget. And then I also, for the budget, I wanted to make a sorry tracker. And this was something that I mentioned in last month's PowerSheets update video. If you want to go ahead and watch that, I'll leave it linked up above. I actually did this in March, but I didn't think I would get around to it when I made these PowerSheets. So I also wrote it as a goal for April, even though it was done in March. So I just colored that in as well. So that was all for April. Let me show you May's goals now. Okay, so here is May's tending list. And as you can see, I have some things blocked off, and that is because I'm actually filming this video pretty late, pretty well already into May. So I wanted to kind of cover up my progress, so it'll be a surprise when you watch next month's PowerSheets video. So I have, let's start with my health category, which again is this light blue. For my monthly action items, I put these in opposite orders by accident. So I want to research some dentists and also make a dentist appointment. I have been paying for dental and vision insurance and haven't used it at all this year. So I want to make sure that I get a dental checkup sometime before we move. And then I lowered my exercise weekly goal to be 1 time a week. And then again, as I mentioned before, I carried over these 3 daily habits. So Metamucil, my PM meds, and then to brush my teeth. And then I tacked on to floss as well, since if I do one, most likely I'll do the other as well, since I just bought one of those like water pressure flosser things. So I want to get in the habit of starting to use that as well. The next category is work, which is this light blue color. And I have 2 items here. So the first one is a monthly item, which is the game plan for my qualifying exams, which was carried over from last month. And then to read 2 papers every day. This was kind of a rewording of that make progress. I wanted to be a little bit more specific, since now I only have 1 goal, like 1 milestone instead of 2, which was last month, which is why I kept it broad as make progress. But this month I am studying for my qualifying exam. So I want to read at least 2 papers every single day to make sure I'm on track for studying for that. The next category is Colton, which I actually don't have any category or any goals for him, or for us, I should say, this month. And then there's miscellaneous. So I have finished my nonfiction book. I am currently reading White Rage, and I've been reading it for a while, and I kind of want to get in the I just want to finish it this month. So I have to finish that as a goal this month. And then it's kind of a check-in to make sure I finish that this month. It's to read in the morning every morning. And the goal is to read that nonfiction book in the morning and then read my fiction book at night before I go to bed. So what I do in the morning, when I take my medicine in the morning, I have at least half an hour before I can eat. So in that half hour, I want to make sure that I set aside some time just to read. And even if it is 2 or 3 pages, just to make some sort of progress on that. Oh, and then I also carried over light a candle every day from last month. The next category is my crafting category, which is this peach color. Again, I carried over, finished those coasters this month, and I also added on monthly memories. So in my planner, on the dashboard page, there is a blank page that I haven't figured out what to do yet, and I want to use it for monthly memory. So my goal is to just print off pictures from every single month and kind of just put it as like a collage scrapbook style thing. So I haven't been keeping up with that at all this month. So my goal is to keep up with that and finish at least through April to get that updated. And then I also carried over scrapbook 1 spread a week. The next category is my Misty Bree category. And again, I carried over to make an Instagram or Pinterest template, as well as 1 YouTube post a week. And then my home category is this dark red color. This month we are decluttering the living room. And then also keeping up with my cleaning to-dos, which I mentioned last month. And then the new one that I have, which is one of my cleaning to-dos that I count, but it is to clean the kitchen every night. And my definition of clean the kitchen is to just wash all the dishes, at least put them on the drying rack, put everything that can be in the dishwasher, and then wipe down all the counters to sanitize them. So that is my goal, to do that every night, and we'll see how that goes. Because I really like going to bed with a clean kitchen, or I guess more accurately, I like to wake up to a clean kitchen. So all I have to do is just put those now dried dishes back away at least. And the last category, which I only have 1 goal for this month, is to have a budget meeting with Colton. And this is our finance category. And that is because, like I said, we're moving, so we're going to be changing up some priorities. And I just want to have a check-in with him to make sure that our budget is currently working for us as well as our goals. So that is all for my check-in today. Let me know what goals you guys accomplished in April down in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.